Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again. Kenroy here. Now, as you can see, I am outside. The sun is shining and the weather is sweet. Well, still a bit chilly today, but once you're sitting in the sun, it's actually not too bad. We've recovered, I think, from the snow. We thought that things was going so well as we're now entering into spring, and out of nowhere we were absolutely covered in snow, which was quite depressing actually for some of us anyway. The kids absolutely love being outside in the snow, but I just really wanted to get out in the garden. It's been months since, you know, the winter's been here and we hadn't been able to come out in the garden to enjoy it, so it's nice to finally see the sun arriving. Now, if you've seen from the previous videos, I have been super busy in the garden despite the weather conditions, and now is the time for me to come out and truly enjoy all of the fruits of my labor. Well, at least get the ball rolling. Now, our garden now has a shed, which I'm sure you've probably seen from our previous video, but if you haven't seen how I was able to construct our shed in our garden, do click on the link above and check that out, guys. I hope you get inspired. If you are thinking of getting a shed for your garden yourself rather than paying somebody to do it, hopefully this video will inspire you to actually do it yourself. Now, my other major project, which we had in the making for almost 2 years now, was our greenhouse project. Now, on this channel, you know, we do a lot of DIY projects, and one of the things that we love to do is to take something that is old, upcycle it, recycle it, renew it, whatever you want to call it, and actually put it back into use. And again, if you haven't seen this video about our greenhouse and how we're able to basically take something that was going to be thrown away and actually reuse it, repurpose it into something that is still fully functional, and hopefully this coming growing season will bear much fruit and we'll be able to use this in the weeks and months to come. Now, today is kind of a tidy update because so many of my flower beds, raised bed areas needs a bit of TLC. Winter has done its thing, and all of the dead leaves and all of the things that we don't want in our flower bed, I'm going to start the process of actually clearing those out so that we can get them ready for the crop which will be growing this year. Now, like I promised before, I will try my best this year to actually do more videos in the garden, showing what we're growing, how we're growing it, and hopefully this can inspire you to do the same. Now, we're in a cost of living crisis, as many of you know, and whatever you can actually grow yourself, I'm sure will benefit your family. Not only is it more nutritious to grow organic vegetables and fruits in your garden, but it's been scientifically proven to help boost your mental health and well-being, which, to be fair, in times like these, you know, you can't have enough of that. So today I'm just going to give you a little tour of the garden, what it currently looks like, and hopefully we can do a bit of work. You can come along with me. Feel free to help out if you want, guys, and we'll just start to get things tidied up for the weeks and months to come. Oh yeah, before I forget, if you haven't yet subscribed, guys, do please subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. It would be lovely if we could hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of this year, as we're trying to grow this community. And thank you so much for all of our subscribers that comment on a weekly basis whenever we upload our videos. We really do enjoy hearing from you, and hopefully, you never know, we might get to meet some of you at some point. Okay, so get your gloves on and let's get started. Okay, so one of the first areas that I'm going to show you on this little garden tour is the walkway leading up to our garden. Now, many of you have probably seen from our previous garden renovation project where we transformed this space, which was severely unloved, into something that we can now all enjoy as a family. Now, while covering this area with these pea gravel, I've also made a little raised bed area which we use to plant vegetables throughout the season. Now, in this section here, we normally plant some peas. Now, as you can see, this was a courgette that had overgrown from last year, and I've simply thrown it here to break down and to basically put that rich nutrients back into the soil, and yeah, hopefully it will help to improve the soil as the weeks go by. Now, in these pots here, we've got some strawberries which, as you can see, have weathered the storm, and I can see the way they're just starting to come back. Don't know if you can see that on camera, and it's always lovely to have strawberries at the beginning of the season. The kids love it, and so do we. And I've got these two massive pots which we had from last year, and yeah, looking forward to some more strawberries. So all along this area we normally plant peas, runner bean, and it's really beautiful as you see the colors coming out from the blossom each year. We also normally plant spinach and other types of brassicas along here, which is often quite nice, where they get partial shade but they also get the afternoon sun. And it worked really well last year for our spinach, and we hope to do the same again. Now, I had so many strawberry plants from before, and I basically ended up planting a section here with strawberries, and as you can see they're starting to wake up again, which is really good. I might actually pull some of them out depending on how they basically fruit this year, but yeah, so we normally plant strawberries in this section. And last but not least, in this sort of planting area, we got these flowers which are biannual and they come back every year. I can't remember what they're called, but they got just the absolute most beautiful red flowers towards the end of summer going into autumn. I need to cut these back and just, you know, allow the soil to get some air. And we also have, which you probably won't be able to see down here, some gladiolus which normally come up every year. Now they've all died back, so you won't see the stems, but really beautiful flowers. One of my first DIY sort of proper carpentry project. It's not the greatest, but it's still standing. And we've got this clematis, which is a really delicate one that normally comes up early spring and trail. For some reason it hasn't gone all the way over. It sort of normally comes to around here and sort of stops and then dies back for the winter. And you can actually see that is starting to wake up. Hello, mister. Now all along this section of the garden is simply for planting flowers. Now these flowers were originally planted by my late mom when we were renovating the garden, so they do hold a really special place in my heart. Last year dug some up and replanted them, and as you can see the numbers are growing and swelling, and hopefully in the years to come this place will be covered by these tiger lilies and daffodils. So yeah, I need to give this a bit of a tidy up as well. But you can probably see the daffodils coming through along with the tiger lilies, which honestly they look amazing every year when they come up. Now as you can see here, I really did try to do some edging work, and so far it's been looking really good. I think this is year 2 that I've been doing this, and it really helps to separate the lawn from the flowers, make it easier to mow. Now this was given to me by one of my neighbors, a lady that we helped down the street, and she gave me this really lovely plaque. And yeah, it's just beautiful because she knows I absolutely love gardening. She also gave me some of these flowers, which the name slips me at the moment. Gosh, I'm so terrible with the names. Great at planting them, but rubbish at remembering the names. Which really gives off a really nice pink flower at the end of summer, I believe. You can see the remains here of our sunflowers, which we had last year. Giant sunflowers, which is my favorite plant, and no doubt I'm going to plant even more this year. So there's just nothing like it, seeing these great big massive flowers just flourishing. That's pretty much that side of the garden. I think I'll do this side, which is a bit boring, needs some work to be honest, but this side of the garden, which is almost like the back wall, I've got these flower pots which need some TLC. As you can see, they're full of weeds and all manner of things that I don't want in them, so I'm gonna have to completely redo these, but it's really nice to have some flowers and plants hanging from those as the summer goes by. I try to plant some bulbs just down here, but as you can see they often don't do so well. I think primarily because of the location, not enough sunlight perhaps. It's typically more damp in this area as well, but you know, that's the way it goes. Over here in this corner now, this is kind of a junk corner where we've got our compost bin. Well, one of them, this compost bin needs to be emptied on our raised bed, which is just over there, because this has been sort of brewing for the past year, and as you can see it's looking quite let's just say it's looking quite composty. That needs emptying, and obviously that's going to add a lot of rich nutrients to our raised bed, which is looking rather a mess at the moment, but I'm sure in a couple of months it's going to be teeming with life. Now I figure I'll take some time to show you the shed, which is looking good. Now you've probably seen our recent video which I uploaded about building this wonderful shed which we bought from Wayfair. Still really happy with it. I've got my hanging basket up. First bit of color in the garden so far, which is just absolutely amazing. And yeah, it's looking really good. Now I'm sure for those of you who've been watching our videos, you remember these quarry tiles which we removed from inside our cottage, inside our house last year. I was actually able to repurpose them and use them on the entrance of our shed, and I'm glad I did that actually, because it can get quite muddy. And I think aesthetically it looks really nice just to, you know, have that bit of color on the floor as you're walking towards it. Very inviting. And yeah, really proud of this shed actually. I know it's just a shed, but yeah, it's nice to finally have this shed built. Now I'll show you inside. I need to do some work on these doors, and a couple of things that we also need to do is to apply a stain on this, because it will help to protect the wood, make it more water resistant and so on. So I'm looking forward to that. Now I've got my trusty latch here at the top, and there's nothing special in here at the moment, guys. But yeah, this is inside our shed at the moment. Got some tools over there. Got some pieces of wood which we need to use to put in our greenhouse, which I'll show you in just a moment, and just some bits and bobs, things we can burn in our log burner in the garden. Ooh. Oh yeah, it's definitely much warmer in here. Got these windows looking out onto what seems like a forest. That's just the hedging separating us from our neighbors. And yeah, all in all, really happy with this shed. Like I said before in our previous video, can't complain. And it's just great to have a place to store tools and, you know, different bits and pieces out of the elements, because normally they're sort of left outside and they get wet and rusty and all of that. So yeah, I need to put up some shelves in here along that back wall. I've already started repurposing one there. Just make it more functional and using this space wisely, you know. I think that's probably one of the best things you can do when you have a shed, is just to utilize the space as best you can. So that's the shed. I'm gonna go and show you the greenhouse now. Now the greenhouse is something that we've always wanted, because it's just nice to be able to have somewhere to grow some of the vegetables that needs that extra bit of heat. Now there's still some work to be done on this greenhouse. As you can see, I've got some duct tape, some aluminium tape there, which will be used to tape across the cracks on the inside. Now the greenhouse, it has two doors, one of them which just got a mesh on it, which hopefully in the summertime when it gets really hot, and trust me, it does get hot in these greenhouses, but in the same instance you do need to keep it ventilated in those warmer months. It also has a sliding door which needs some work, just to make it a bit freer. I haven't been able to attach the panel to the floor, which basically allows it to glide across, but as for a future project. The main thing is that the greenhouse is up, it's in situ, still got bits and pieces that needs to be done on it, but I'm really happy with it so far. Now let's just step inside, and honestly it's like you've just come into a completely different environment. It's just so much warmer in here, even with the cracked glass. Now don't watch the cracked glass all around. I was really gutted when so many of these glass got broken. I managed to salvage all of them without breaking them, and I was so gutted when I got here that quite a few of them were broken as we started to reconstruct the greenhouse. Now I didn't know this, but greenhouse glass is super expensive, especially when you've got to get it cut to measure, as some of these panels are various different sizes and angles. So I just didn't have that cash to splash and to buy new glass. And so when you're trying to do things on a budget, you've just got to roll the punches. Now I made up my mind that I was just going to take the risk first and actually try to put the glass in and see how the greenhouse cope. I'm not too fussed about the aesthetics. I'm more worried about whether or not it'll be able to function as a warm environment for the plants, to protect them. And so far so good. We've also got a roof panel which is really nice, so you can actually lift this up and straight away you can feel a gush of air just rushing through. So yeah, I mean guys, I got this greenhouse for absolutely £0, which I can't complain about. Now I'll show you these bricks, which I actually managed to get from Facebook Marketplace, again for free. Honestly, I really hope that this inspires you if you're thinking about a project like this. It is hard work, but at the end of the day, when you can sit back and see how far you've come, and the fact that you've got it for next to nothing is just absolutely amazing. So don't be afraid to give it a go, and the worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, then you wouldn't have spent tons of money anyway. Oh, before I forget, so what I'm planning on doing in this greenhouse is I actually want to plant into the soil. A lot of people would normally pave the greenhouse and then just have flower pots and so on, but I actually want to have things growing out of the floor, for better or worse. So I'm going to divide the greenhouse into two sides with a walkway down the middle, and the idea is to just plant some of my crops into the ground directly, and hopefully have some shelves inside where I can actually put some pots on and actually grow vegetables and stuff out of those as well. So I'm going to be utilizing and maximizing the space as much as possible. So the plan is to have half of the greenhouse on that side growing stuff, and on this side the same thing, and potentially around the back a strip at the back as well. And then down the middle from the entrance, I'm planning on just using some of my, you guessed it, quarry tiles to actually make a path where I can just walk on, you know, without stepping in the soil. I might even use some decking boards to partition it. I mean, the sky's the limit. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. I'll just see what I can actually use from in my shed to basically repurpose and just to make this place look so much better. Just to show you how effective greenhouses can be for growing plants, I'm going to show you some of the weeds that are growing in here. Now bearing in mind, this place was covered in dirt when I was reconstructing the base. It was being trampled over and everything. It's been around a month and a half now since this greenhouse has been completed, and you know, all the trampling and everything that's been going on. And while the grass on the outside was covered in snow and just was full of water, not growing, and you know, very, very slowly, I'm going to show you how much things have grown inside the greenhouse since then. Okay, so have a look at this weed, guys. Look how huge this thing is, considering that it's still pretty cold outside. The fact that it was inside the greenhouse means that it just absolutely took off, and it just looks so green, so lush, so healthy. I wonder if you can eat this. Maybe use it in a salad. Put it in the comments below if you've ever eaten this, guys. I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon, but it's just a real testament to how good greenhouses can be. So I'm looking forward to utilizing that. Over here as well, you can see a patch of grass. I mean, this looks like summer grass right now because it's nice and dry in here, and it's already going to seeds. Oh my word. I mean, that's just crazy. So the weeds are already loving it. So yeah, hopefully when my veggies come in here, they'll love it too. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you guys today on this tour is the raised bed, the main raised bed in our garden. I've got another one in the courtyard round back, but I'll probably show you that another time. But the main raised bed which we have round the back here, now I've been slowly working on this for a couple of years now, and as you can see, the soil level has risen significantly compared to how we originally started when we were renovating this garden. Now this soil is really rich, and it's all from like composted material that we've dug out and actually mixed in, and I've got some more to mix in today as well. I've also got some of my mom's strawberries which are still going strong with these red stems. Honestly, these are some of the sweetest strawberries I've ever had. I'm so glad that we managed to keep these alive for another year. Just another little thing to remind us of my mum. So her strawberries are still going strong. And last but not least, I actually tried this year to plant some garlic, which I've never actually done before. These were from ones that were growing in our pantry, trying to protect them from the cats. Now, cats, they are just the worst when it comes to raised beds. They love to dig out your plant, try to use your raised beds as a toilet. Yeah, the battle goes on. I've got some garlic growing in here this year, but the cold has really not been kind on them. We had the snow, like I said, which came out of nowhere, but they seem to be still alive, so time will tell whether or not these can bounce back, as I've never actually grown garlic before. If you guys got any tips on growing these, please do put in the comments down below. But yeah, that's about it. That's where we're at the moment. Now this is going to be a super long video, so I think what I'll probably do is divide it into 2 parts. So I've just given you a little tour of the garden. Now the only place I forgot to show you in this garden was probably, you remember that flower bed that we made a couple of years ago. It's still going strong since we've moved it over here. I've planted some bulbs in there and it's doing really well. But I'm going to divide this video into 2 because, like I said, it's going to be quite a long one, and hopefully in part 2 you see me actually doing some of the work which I said I'm going to do. Let me not procrastinate, and yeah, just get this garden ready for the summer. So thank you guys so much for watching once again. We really do appreciate it. I'm going to crack on now, and hopefully we'll see you in part 2. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video, and feel free to share it with somebody if it will help to encourage them to get out in the garden and just to enjoy. I mean, what's not to like about this sunshine? See you guys in the next one. Take care.